and it is day 27 of the Silent Hill 2 remake cam hack playthrough. We're in the final area. We're in the hotel. A lot to do here, a lot to see here, a lot of rooms to check, a lot of details in the environment. So even though it is kind of the last leg of the playthrough, this is still going to take us quite a bit of searching and hunting and exploring. We actually technically started the hotel yesterday in part 26. And we've already taken a good look around at a few places. We've looked around the gardens. I also was showing some comparison images of the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, because that is what the lake view is in the remake. It is very, very heavily inspired by the Stanley Hotel, to the point where the lobby is like exactly the same. Stanley Hotel, of course, big inspiration for the Overlook Hotel from Stanley Kubrick and Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining. This is looking like Boundary Break. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing. It's a full playthrough of Boundary Breaking live. And this is day 27 of an ongoing series. We're finally getting close to the end of the game now. You've got the shinning. You want to get sued? Lakeview Hotel. Love the little picture. Need to print out some custom stationery. Mr. James Sunderland, regarding the videotape you left in your room during your last stay, I'm glad to inform you that we have recovered the item and moved it to the employee section on the first floor. The tape is stored within the hotel safe to be returned to you at your earliest convenience. Speaking of Stephen King, hope the Silent Hill 1 remake still has the poster reading "Study, damn it." Me too. Me too. They kept the Jack Nicholson reference for Silent Hill 2 remake. They kept the Jack Nicholson posters on the walls when you're first walking into town. So they were pretty careful with details and things like that with this game. Hopefully they keep that same mentality and work ethic up for Silent Hill 1. Mr. Sunderland, that videotape you and your wife made was rank. The FBI has been notified. Ooh, inside of the suitcases are textured. I'm always so happy to clip into an object and not just see nothing. That something is actually rendered in it. like this one. This one. Nothing's rendered in this one. So you just see right through it. Nothing in the duffel bag. Mr. James Sunderland. We found the videotape that you and your wife made and have submitted it to America's Funniest Home Videos. Oh yeah. We did pick up the music box key, a decorative key shaped like a treble clef, too small for a door. James wouldn't know what a treble clef is. As is tradition, the finger is fancy. Didn't mean to dodge. And then key to hotel room 312. A key to room 312 in the Lakeview Hotel. Lakeview Hotel written out in one word. Capital L, lowercase v. Lakeview Hotel. Make up your mind. Game developers, what are you thinking? Because there's a lot of stuff where it's Lakeview, 2 words. Lakeview Hotel. And I'm pretty sure it's stylized all in one word in the original game. Let's go ahead and open this up. No music boxes to put inside just yet. Hey, Kikyo. Popping in real fast, sneaking in before someone catches me at work. Don't get caught. Appreciate you stopping in, though. Let's see, there should be... Oh, we can see right through that. I'm trying to just see if there's any of the little mechanics and parts of the music box that are visible at all. Oh, there's the key. It's actually tucked up here. Honestly, I love looking at all of the puzzle contraptions, like the coin cabinet in the apartments and all these things. I love the detail on them. I love kind of how practically made they are. Oh, there's even writing. Trademark. Polyphone. Polyphon. There's like a image here. Very faded. You can see there's a person's foot, like wearing sandals. And a robe. All the little notches in the wheel itself. Polyphone. Here it actually says polyphone, not just polyphon. Polyphone. Music box. I'm searching. Oh my god, they're real. It's a real thing. Because I know Polyphone as a brand. Oh, it also is Polyphon. Polyphon is a disc-playing music box. Invented in 1870. First manufactured in Germany, full-scale production starting in 1896. I wonder if we can find this exact model. Because there are some very similar looking ones that I'm seeing just in a really quick kind of cursory search. I'll do a little more research on that later. Try and see if this is an exact model. Considering the detail. Own. They reused some of the textures where polyphone or polyphon is carved in. Yeah, there it is again. Flipped backwards. Hey, what's up, Grove? Hope the cam hack's going well. Do we get the music box dance today? There's a good chance we'll get that far. But considering how many things there are in the hotel, how many details there are, how many rooms there are, it's probably going to be somewhat slow progression. There's a lot of stuff I really want to look at here. And I'm going to be especially thorough because there's one thing that I really want to find, and it might not exist, and that's canned light bulbs. They were a part of the original Silent Hill 2. You get a can opener, you open up a tin can in the kitchen below the Venus Tears bar, and inside of the tin can are light bulbs that you need to plug into a lamp in order to be able to see a door and unlock it. And that puzzle was completely removed from the remake and replaced with like a valve puzzle instead, where you find a valve and move it into a couple different places to turn off steam in order to get through doors. And usually, in pretty much every other case throughout this remake, when Bloober Team changes a puzzle or removes a puzzle, they put a reference to it. They put a reference to the original. It's usually something that's examinable, one of the glimpses of the past, where, like, they changed the clock puzzle, the grandfather clock puzzle in Woodside Apartments. So if you go to the room and see the wall where the original puzzle was, there's a thing you can examine. You get a little musical tone, and it shows you like the outline of the clock on the wall and where the wall was broken away and has been patched up, scrapes on the floor where it was pushed aside, which is what James does in the original. So there's references when they change those kind of things. In the prison, they took away the horseshoe handle puzzle, where you use a lighter to melt a wax doll and make a makeshift handle using the horseshoe and the melted wax to open up a trap door. That was removed for the remake, but there's an examinable glimpse of the past moment where you find those items as like a nice little reference. So Bloober usually references those things. There is no canned light bulb glimpse of the past. It's not referenced the same way the other puzzles are. So there are other things that have been removed that Bloober Team hides them in the environment as Easter eggs instead. For example, the hyperspray. The hyperspray was a weapon in the original, a New Game Plus unlockable weapon in the original. And it was removed from the remake. It's not something you can pick up or use as a weapon, but it is in the environment in a few places that you can pretty much only see with a cam hack. So the idea, my thought process is, the canned light bulbs, because they are not in a like examinable glimpse of the past type, moment throughout the game, they must be just hidden in the environment somewhere. We've looked all throughout everything else up to this point and haven't found them. But I would imagine they're found in the hotel in the original. They might be in the hotel here. That would make the most sense. And Bloober Team has made some other Easter eggs and references towards much more obscure things. So it would be... You can see my train of logic, right? I'm fully expecting canned light bulbs to be hiding in the environment in this hotel somewhere. And last time, I like how we can hear Laura playing Silent Hill music, playing different Silent Hill songs on the piano. So for anybody who wasn't here last time, yesterday, for part 26, this is the Venus Tears bar. We looked all around here. And then here's the kitchen behind the Venus Tears bar. So, like, this right here, this little corner, in the original game, this would have been where you find the tin can and the light bulbs. They're not in here. We looked through all these jars. We looked through all these pots. There's a whole bunch of jars. And tin cans over here. We looked at all of these. No light bulbs. Baked beans, peaches, strawberries, blueberries, pound cake, butter cake, cookie, spaghetti. Looked inside all the cans of spaghetti. Rotten carrots. Moldy beets. No canned light bulbs. Like, this would be the room. This would be where they were in the original. This would make sense as the place to hide them for the remake. And they're not here. So today, we're just going to start exploring the hotel as we go and try to just keep our eyes peeled for canned light bulbs. The original canned bulbs were a direct reference to some weird experimental Alice in Wonderland movies. So, not exactly, Ezio. You're mixing up a little bit of your information. So, there is I think it's like 1970, 1980. I think it was Czech Republic? Czech produced Alice in Wonderland. See, not the 1985 one with Ringo Starr. Was it 70s? The 1951? No, that's the Disney one, right? Anyway, I don't remember exactly what year it is, but it's like it's a foreign film, very weird, surreal Alice in Wonderland live action film. What the can thing was the key in Silent Hill 3. That's when you get a canned drink out of a vending machine, and inside of it you find a key. That's the Alice in Wonderland movie reference, not the light bulbs. And even if it was like a movie reference, something of that nature, we've already seen several other movie references that have been maintained for the remake. Things that were created as a reference to like a movie or something of that nature for the original game, and the remake kept it. They didn't exclude it just because it was a movie reference or anything like that. They added new movie references. There's references to like Old Boy, which is carved into some hammers that you find throughout the game. So, it being a movie reference shouldn't have any bearing on Bloober Team including it. Alice. That's it. It's just called Alice, 1988, by Jan Spankmeyer. Thank you, Locomo. That's the one. I thought I was older than 88. But yeah, thank you for the correction info there. More floral pattern. More floral pattern motif. Devs in the chat who hid the light bulbs thinking warmer, warmer. I mean, there is somebody who claims to be a dev who's made a few comments on the YouTube videos. I have not been able to verify if they're telling the truth about being a dev, because, you know, it's the internet. Especially YouTube comments. You never know when people are just trying to pull your leg. But I will say that commenter knew about the Jacob Singer ID reference location. Although a lot of fans know about that now because of data miners and other cam hackers in the fandom. The DLC adds the light bulbs. We gotta wait for Born from a Wish. Born from a bulb. Bulb from a wish. But there's just so many other references that I would be genuinely surprised there isn't canned light bulbs somewhere in this hotel, in this game. Saw on Discord someone post about the prison cell drawings. Are you talking about Hank? Hank TX, the legend, who actually counted all of the people in the drawing? Yeah. Let me pull that up actually. So yeah, Hank TX, the actual legend. When we got to the prison in an earlier part of this playthrough, there's a painting that you can find called 436 People at a Recital. And Hank went through and counted all of the numbers of people in the painting So here's what Hank had to say. I questioned during the live stream of the prison if there were truly 436 figures in the 436 people at a recital painting. Well, with nothing much to do tonight, I actually counted them, and no, there are 386 people in the painting. So, huge shout outs to the legend Hank TX in our wonderful community, taking the time to count and even post images with like having everything labeled and easily verified. The actual goat. Was planning to do it yourself, but he beat you to it. Hey, that's what happens, Yoshio. You gotta act on those random, impulsive desires to check information. Someone else will beat you to it. But yeah, big shout outs to Hank for counting all of the people in the painting, seeing that there's not actually that many there. And yeah, the texture for that one and the texture for Woman in Flight are practically identical to the original game. They're a bit higher resolution, so I don't think it's the exact same texture. I think Bloober Team did recreate them, just like took the original textures, blew them up, and then painted over them, like to make an identical copy in a higher resolution. Um, or some method similar to that to create a very, very accurate recreation of them. The one that's different is Burning Man. Burning Man, because the entire look of the Lakeview Hotel is different. It's very different in the remake compared to the original. Because the original Silent Hill 2 painting of Burning Man, which depicts the Lakeview Hotel on fire, a little hint at the truth of what happened to this hotel. It's not in this nice, perfect state that we see it in. This is the Otherworld version. But in reality, it's got fire damage and water damage everywhere. But that painting of Burning Man in the original is using sort of the concept art for the design of the OG Lakeview Hotel. And because the Lakeview Hotel in the remake is based on the Stanley Hotel, which looks very different, Bloober created a whole new painting using this version of the hotel, showing it on fire. It's still very, very accurate in the style that it's done in, to look very similar to the original. But yeah, OG Lakeview and Remake Lakeview are very different looking buildings, different architecture. And you can see like a clear difference between the two if you compare both hotels and both paintings. Our Monsterizer blender. Curious, the other two drawings were copied pretty much exactly. Bloober's been very good with that. There's a lot of those original textures where Bloober Team recreated them. Like they had to make higher resolution versions of them because the original textures would have just been a little too grainy, too fuzzy. Maybe they upscaled them. Maybe they just took them and upscaled them somehow. Um, but a lot of them look like they've literally been like painted over, sort of like traced and repainted to make them very, very accurate, while still being redone, new assets, but they're extremely accurate to the original. There's a lot of textures throughout the game that are like that. Like the wall where you find Laura after exiting Blue Creek Apartments has the bear and the cat and flowers and stuff on it. That's not the original texture. You can take it and compare it to the original texture. It's not the same texture, but it is 99.9% accurate. Like it's very, very similar, practically identical, but it's been remade, redone. Same thing with in the Historical Society. Misty Day. It's not the original Misty Day. The remake version has like thicker lines and brush strokes and lots of other little detail to it. Um, it's not the same one from the original because the original was not actually a painting. It was a 3D render that Ito made and was basically just a flat image of that 3D render. But the one done for remake is, again, like 98% accurate, but made to look more like an authentic painting with visible sort of brush strokes and inconsistent line work where parts of it are thinner and parts of it are thicker, little tiny cracks and chips in the paint in a few spots. And I mean, they had Ito working on this game as well. So I don't know if that was Bloober Team artists recreating Misty Day or if they got Ito to just like make a physical painting of it for the game and redo it. It's so accurate though. I imagine that has to be Bloober Team taking the original and recreating it super, super accurately. I don't think even Ito himself would recreate that work so accurately. Are you a big fan of the Overlook as well? I am. I actually have some souvenirs from the Stanley Hotel. Um, I wasn't able to go myself, but my mother took a trip to Colorado several years back, and she's the one who got me into horror, especially Stephen King. And so while she was in Colorado, she went and took a trip to the Stanley Hotel. So I've got some postcards and keychains and little things from the gift shop from the actual Stanley. Oh, inside of the microwave's rendered. Not all the microwaves have this. Konami would have the original assets sitting around still, right? Nope. Back when the original Silent Hill games were being developed, it was common practice, not just at Konami, but at a lot of developing publishers and studios, that once a game was out, that was it. So they didn't keep source code a lot of the time. So the original source code and a lot of those assets and things, Konami doesn't have those anymore. It's possible that some of the artists who created those things kept personal copies of some of that information, some of those assets. They weren't supposed to, but it's possible that somebody like Sato might have old hard drives from back in the day, or, you know, something like that. But it's not likely. It's not likely. The Shining's the only film that made me realize, oh, chat's scrolling too fast. No one will ever know. Temporal Fry. The Shining is the only film that made me realize rooms that were too bright could be so scary. Have you ever seen 1408? Speaking of Stephen King adaptations with spooky hotel rooms. Because if you've not seen 1408, I highly, highly recommend it. "1408 had 3 endings and only one of them is good. 4 endings. We actually had to look this up recently because Rachel and I we're both big horror fans. We've both seen 1408. I saw it in theaters. I think she said she also saw it in theaters, but like we own copies of it. We've had it on like DVD and Blu-ray and stuff. And we were watching a version of it that was on, I forget what streaming service. But we were watching 1408 like last month, and there were scenes in it that we didn't recognize, and the endings were different, and we were like, wait, what's going on here? And we started looking into it and discovered there are 4 completely different cuts of 1408 that all have their own endings and differences in what scenes are shown and the edits that are used. And the way the endings are laid out is very, very much like Silent Hill, where there is essentially like a bad ending, a bad plus ending, a good ending, and a good plus ending. No wacky dog ending. At least not that anyone knows about right now. Maybe in a vault somewhere, considering how many cuts of that movie there are. Maybe they gave Samuel L. Jackson the only print copy of the dog ending for 1408, the UFO ending. The Shining as a book can be tough to get started, but oh boy. Um, Compared to a lot of Stephen King's work, like if you're not familiar with Stephen King, then yeah, it might be a little bit difficult to get into. But if you've read a lot of other Stephen King stuff and just not The Shining, it's one of the more accessible books of his. Because I definitely know a lot of people who weren't big readers who started getting into Stephen King after the newer It movies with like Bill Skarsgård. And there's a lot of people who like, oh, I'm going to start reading Stephen King. Let's start with It. Don't start with It. That's my advice. You want to get into reading Stephen King, don't start with It. You want to talk about a book that's difficult to get into, and difficult to keep up with. It gets very convoluted. Because that was like peak Stephen King Coke binge writing days, and I love him for that. He's written some of his best stuff when he was on all sorts of crazy Coke and painkillers and everything else, but you'll start reading about space turtles and ancient celestial beings and be like, what the fuck am I reading? I thought this was about scary clown. It's like, nope. There's a lot more to it. You gotta read 4 chapters about cosmic horror and ancient beings and the world and existence and reality on the back of a giant turtle so that you can really understand and comprehend Pennywise the clown. How it ties in with Native American rituals. The Stand was a little too off the wall for me to appreciate when I saw it, but I'd watch it again. It's also another very good but somewhat difficult book series to get into. I'm also a big fan of The Gunslinger. There's a lot of really good Stephen King stuff out there that's a little bit lesser known. Yeah, Dark Tower, Gunslinger. Dark Tower in general, great series. Also Stephen King's like mystery novels. I don't know how much people delve into his like not straight up horror stuff. But there's a lot of really good stuff there too. Joyland. That Richard Dawkins? That is Richard Dawkins. Sorry. This is different. We haven't found Richard Dawkins anywhere else. Evolution confirmed. Oxford Linguistics. Some very faint book covers. Can I spawn James up a little bit higher to try to see? Better lighting. Some of these are just a little too smudgy to be able to read. It looks like this is all like one object. It's not individual books where we can see the covers of them. Like this red one, this little space between them, like this is all one object, this is one object up to this red book with the blue cover, white birds on it. And then this is all one object. I think one of those books has the Silent Hill texture, the one you see in the OG behind the observation deck that James stares out into. So Derwentwater, that's the texture that's multiple photos that have been edited together of Derwentwater in Keswick, England. It's the one with the half blue spine, this one with the birds. It's hard to tell from just that little sliver of it. And the cover is just like flat red. A red square. It even does kind of look like the OG save square texture. But yeah, we can't really get a good look beyond that. God, so many little things in this one room, and this is just one room out of the entire hotel. This is why the hotel is going to probably take the longest to get through out of any other area. You sense bulb? I get the feeling because it's a tin can, it's just like a tin can without a label with light bulbs, in the OG anyway, that we'll find it in a kitchen environment. We already looked around the Venus Tears bar and little kitchen behind it and where it is in the OG and didn't find it. But there is another kitchen area in the hotel that we have not checked yet. Because there's the one... There's the kitchen where the racks with bread on them is located. And if you examine it, you get the It's Bread trophy achievement as a little Silent Hill 3 reference. Toluca Delivery. Were you delivering canned bulbs? Delivering empty boxes. Do not drop. Fragile. Handle with care. Do not drop. Clearly you've never seen me play Death Stranding. I be dropping boxes all the time. I love that there's little character-related things hidden around here, too. The football for Eddie. The teddy bear for Laura. The boots that are also in the closet with Maria's OG outfit. Angela's guitar. Just kidding. That'd be great. Angela should get a guitar. And Troy Baker's guitar. There we go. It's an HD collection reference. Mary Elizabeth McGlynn's hat. Tom Hewlett's ladder. The gang's all here. Just start making shit up. Try to make the assets feel more significant than they are. Don't worry, I would never do that to you guys. Pyramid Head's rubber boot. That's Jacob's ladder, actually. Oh, of course. Dahlia's gyromancy rug. Travis Grady's whole ass truck. That actually is a thing in Downpour. In Silent Hill Downpour, you can find Travis Grady's truck. It's when you're on the way to DJ Bobby Rix's boat. And you can find Travis's truck with the big Ambrose logo on the side. Claire Redfield's jacket? Dude, look at this. Look at this jacket. I should start wearing this. This is the kind of jacket I could make a whole annoying personality around of. Just wear it all the time. Make my entire personality a jacket. Although legitimately, this looks like Claudia's robe. This is such a weird thing. Like, these are all kind of contemporary, like, jackets and flannel and stuff that you'd kind of see around the 70s and 80s. And then look at this shit. Look at this long black cloth robe here. This coat. The little pleats in the front. Claudia Wolf. Well, I think that's pretty much everything in here. That opens up the Lost and Found. Man, you'd really think Lightbulb Watch 2025. And like, I know I've looked at everything, but I'm just second guessing myself. Because I'm like, if you're going to hide something, hide it in the Lost and Found, where there's a ton of other little props and things. Dartboard, basketball, football. Box of albums. We've actually seen the same box of albums in some other places. And a lot of these album covers are also in Groovy Music. That like white denim jacket. Some more books. Medical etiquette books. The radiology books. Things like that we've found in a bunch of other places. Yeah, I'm sorry, Oleander. I have not dropped a single frame. Knock on wood. But stream's all good on my end. Hey, what's up here, Amy? Welcome back. Go to work while Nub's streaming, come back and Nub's streaming. Feels good to see people mention that again. Because my health has been so fucking bad for such a long time, even before the emergency room and everything, where I just haven't been able to stream as much as I used to. It feels very, very good to be at a point where I'm, like, streaming again. Streaming super regularly again. Getting to spend time with all of you guys again. Making me feel like I'm 26 years old again. Staying up for 24 hours. And constantly streaming. I'm not quite at that point. I don't think I'll ever be at that point where I start actively streaming so long that it's a detriment to my health. But it does feel good to just be back to streaming pretty regularly, like full-time and stuff again. All right. The restaurant. Restaurant. See that mountain? You can climb it. It's like a Bob Ross painting. It's beautiful. It's hiding behind the curtain. It's nothing. God, I love the carpet patterns and stuff. I've been to a lot of hotels over the last 25-ish years for like anime and video game conventions and stuff like that. And seeing these types of carpets in hotels and stuff, I'm just like, yeah. Been to a lot of old hotels that still have like their same carpet that they've used since the 60s, 70s, 80s. And it's just like weird patterns and weird color mixtures. Although I really do like this one. It's like eyes. It's like a bunch of other little patterns. Almost like tails, animal tails, or vines. But then you have these little dark parts that looks like a bunch of eyes looking at you. And all this furniture. You can smell the cigarettes, exactly. We've spent so much time looking around, Laura gave up playing piano. Oh, also, I guess I didn't. Oh, I made a save after clipping up here. So the book is already down here. Hopefully that doesn't break this sequence with Laura or anything. Fun little Easter egg there. For anybody who didn't know, if you keep examining the piano, you play the main notes from Magdalene. Weird how spaced out the notes are here. James is not very good at piano. It's okay. Although his original actor, Guy Seehee, could play piano. He actually had a video on his personal YouTube channel. It's probably still there. I wonder if it's still there. Of him wearing a James cosplay and playing piano. Yeah, James didn't actually play piano. Mary did. And James comments that she wasn't particularly good at it. I don't think he mentions that in the remake, but it's in the text when you examine the piano, this same piano in the original. James says that he always used to love listening to Mary play, even though she wasn't very good at it. Bless Seehee and his James role plays. It's a bit cringe, but you got to appreciate it. For sure. Doesn't James kind of look like Seehee? Haven't checked in a while. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a strong resemblance between the character and the actor when it comes to the original. They kind of based a lot of the design of the characters around their actors at that time. Kind of similar to what they do now, but not to the extent where it's literally the actors like scanned in. But they were very loosely kind of based around their actors. The Book of Gremory. Which, I know this is a reference. Yeah, Gremory, also known as Gamory, Gemory, or Gomori, is a powerful Duke of Hell, featured in demonology, described as governing 26 legions of demons and possessing the ability to reveal past, present, and future events, including knowledge of hidden treasures and the ability to procure the love of women. Actual demons. I love when they use real demonology, historical aspects, something that they do a lot of in the original as well as the remake. And to answer your question, Temporal Fry, as far as James looking like Sihi, haven't checked in a while. These days, Guy is looking a little bit more like Frank Sunderland. If they get to the Silent Hill 4 remake in time, they should just bring Guy back to play his own father. A lot of people have wanted Sihi to do Frank. I mean, that would honestly be really cool to see. To see he, huh? Huh? That would be awesome. I think he looks the part, and it would be interesting just sort of hearing him do voice acting and stuff again, because it's not something that he does a lot of. Um, Especially for games. I think one of the last games he worked on was Forgotten Memories, which we actually had the lead dev of Forgotten Memories was a regular in our community. Haven't seen him in a while, but he went by Tato Forever here on Twitch. He used to be one of our regulars, but he got Guy Sihi to work with him and voice a character on his game Forgotten Memories, and Forgotten Memories is a very heavily Silent Hill inspired game. And then Guy Sihi started doing educational stuff. He was doing a lot of mobile educational games, which, funny enough, Rachel, my wife, has one of his educational vocabulary games on her phone. And it's really funny hearing Guy Sihi just say words. He just like pronounces words. And some of the words he gives a little bit more inflection to than others. Some of them he kind of reads them very dryly. So you'll just hear Guy Sihi, like it's James's voice, being like, canine, observatory. But one of the words when she was playing that game and we were like listening to it just because it was fun hearing him say words, was the word wretch. And when he said wretch, he was like wretch. Like he really put some emphasis into it. Wretch or wretch with a W. Wretch. Wretch. No? Astral something. Little logo. Astral piano. What do we have? Is this a thing? Is this a brand? Astral pianos. Not a recognized brand or type of piano. Art Station. It's an Unreal Engine. It's an Unreal Engine stock asset. Created by Jacopo Pugioni from Vertigo Games. I found the Unreal Engine asset. Hang on. I'll pull this up. So here on ArtStation, Jacopo Pugioni and the environmental artist from Vertigo Games created this lovely Astral Pianos, Grand Piano, real-time Unreal Engine 4. There is the asset. Very nice. Very nice, high quality, detailed asset. There's the inside that I'm seeing with the logo and everything more visible. Did they remove the... They removed the logo from the front, but kept the one inside. Maybe they kind of retextured it. It looks like they retextured to maybe make it look a little bit older and dustier, a little dirtier, more worn. Congrats, your piano is famous in Silent Hill. I mean, if I was a 3D asset modeler and some of my work showed up in my favorite game series, I'd be pretty happy about that. Hopefully they acquired it under license and they didn't just like steal an asset and stick it into the game. I should hope so. I mean, it's been known to happen. That's all I'll say.
驚いた？
ああ、とてもね。
怖いよか。
当然の仕打ちか。バカジェームスには。
かもね。でもね、嫌な人じゃないよ。ちょっとうざいだけ。
そうかい。それで次は何をする気？奥の暗い部屋にでも閉じ込めるとか？
いいや。もう十分。今はね。
そう。なら安心だ。
それよりメアリー探すの手伝ってよ。いるんでしょ？ねえ。お願い、教えて。
メアリーがここに？
メアリー、手紙に書いてたもん。
手紙？本当にあったのか？
ああ、読みたい？でもレイチェルに内緒ね。
レイチェル？
看護師さん、ロッカーからこっそり取ってきたの。
レイチェル。
かわいいローラ。あなたがこの手紙を手にするときには私はもういない。とても遠く静かな場所に行ってしまったから、別れも言わずいなくなってしまってごめんなさい。 ローラ、元気でね。あまりシスターを困らせないように。あなたはジェームスのことを嫌ってて会おうとしなかったけど、でも何かあったらいつでも頼りなさい。ぶっきらぼうであまり笑わない、ちょっと短気な人だけど、本当はとても優しい人だから。大好きよ、ローラ。本当の娘のようにあなたを愛してた。もし病気が治るならば本当の娘にしたいと思っていた。それでもきっといい人生を歩んでね。あなたは強くて賢く美しい子よ。8歳の誕生日おめでとう、ローラ。あなたの親友メアリー。
ローラ、今は何歳だ？
先週8歳になった。
じゃあつまり3年前に死んだんじゃないってことか。メアリーはここにいるのか。ここが遠く静かな場所なのか。
いつもサイレントヒルの話してた。写真も見せてくれたし、また来たいって言ってたもん。ジェームスの話もしてたよ、いつも。それに。
なんだい？
それに手紙がもう一通あるの。きっとジェームス宛てだよ。封筒に名前が書いてあった。
読んだのか？
読んではない。一度だけ読もうとした。ジェームスに渡したくなくて。でもメアリーはジェームスに読んでほしいだろうから私が取っておいたの、ここに。はい。
空っぽだ。手紙なんてないぞ。
嘘。でも私取ってない。本当よ。
じゃあどこにある？
なくしちゃったのかな。探してくる。
ローラ。
Stop running away. Does Mary really think Laura's gonna know what surly means, though? Laura's pretty smart. She's pretty smart for an 8-year-old. Whip out the letter you have from Mary? Yeah, wouldn't that have been an interesting moment? For James to be like, hey, I've also got a letter from Mary. Let me read yours and I'll let you read mine. And Laura's like, you're not holding anything, James. Which reminds me, if you haven't checked your letter by this point in the game, after the Eddie fight, notice the description has changed. Mary's letter. There's nothing written on the stationery. Just a blank piece of paper. And I feel like this moment in the game, both in the remake and the original, is supposed to kind of remind you about this letter being in your inventory so that you will go check it and realize it's not the same. The writing is gone. So the idea that Laura got to the town before James with a real letter written from Mary to James, which is the letter you hear at the end of the game, was essentially taken by the town, which is why Laura has lost it, and used to create this fake manifestation of the letter that omits all of the stuff that James is in denial about, and only keeps a very small little paragraph to sort of act as James's motivating factor to search for Mary while he's here and eventually come to terms with the truth. But this letter is not real, and the game takes it away little by little. As James is breaking free of his delusion, the letter is also part of that delusion, so it also ceases to exist bit by bit. So first, we see it now, and this happens right after killing Eddie. That moment where James kills somebody, and he's thinking to himself, I killed a human being. He says it in the original. He doesn't say it in the remake, but we know he's thinking it. And that moment is part of his delusion breaking away. So if you check the letter after that moment, it's how it looks now. The envelope is there, the paper is there, but the paper is blank. Once we watch the VHS tape, the paper is gone, and the envelope is the only thing still in your inventory. So you only have the envelope after watching the VHS tape. James has once again broken free from a big part of his delusion, but he's still not fully into accepting reality yet. Once he says, I don't need you anymore to the two pyramid heads, and has that confrontation with his own desire for punishment, his own representation of guilt, that's the last little bit of his delusion that he needs to confront. So you check for the letter again after the two pyramid fight, and it's just gone. No envelope, no paper, no writing, nothing in your inventory anymore. Same exact way that it's handled in the OG, by the way. That's not like added or unique to the remake. Laura did a new drawing. So now she's acting friendly towards James. She's been depicting herself as this small bunny rabbit in all of her drawings up to this point, and being chased by an angry dog or an angry wolf. Now she's drawing herself as a happy little bunny with a happy dog. She's gotten to a point of accepting James. Makes him telling her the truth so much sadder? It really does. The fact that Laura finally has warmed up to James and is being friendly with him just for James to tell her the truth and absolutely crush her little heart. Intermezzo by Johann Brahms. I'm a police officer from Brahms, the next town over. I feel like the piano music is very multi-layered in its references. I feel like the fact that they chose a piece of work from Johannes Brahms is a reference to the town of Brahms itself. That couldn't have been coincidental. But then they're also sort of picking pieces of music that feel relevant to sort of the story and the scenes, because there's been other piano music where they've done similar little motifs that kind of align with the story beats and characters at the time, where you find other pianos and other bits of sheet music. Intermezzo. Johannes Brahms. Here's a little excerpt of the reception of this particular piece from Johannes Brahms. These character pieces were described by the critic Edward Hanslick as monologues, which Brahms' biographer Walter Niemann describes as thoroughly personal and subjective, and striking a pensive, graceful, dreamy, resigned, and elegiac note. To Niemann, the middle section of the second intermezzo seems to portray a man as he stands with the bleak, gusty autumn wind eddying around him. And here is where I would play that music for you, if not for really terrible copyright laws on YouTube. You can pull it up yourself in a second tab and listen to it while I look around at all these books. Hey! It's What's Wrong with Your Face Lady in this box of books. It's been a while since we've seen her. Can still see her being reluctant, but being open to maybe trying to understand what happened better. Can't imagine it would be the happiest place for her to be, leaving the town with James, but I can see her at least not being afraid of him, if still not completely trusting. It'd be tough to sell. I mean, that is kind of what the leave ending implies, right? That despite what James had done, the fact that he was being honest with Laura, and Laura seems to kind of have some level of acceptance of, like, leaving with him. Then again, it could just be like, Laura needs to get out of the town. She's got to get back home. She got here with Eddie, and James killed Eddie. So James is kind of like her only ride out of town also. I wonder how that conversation goes. If Laura's like, yeah, I got here with that gutless fatso in his van. Whatever happened to him? And James like, I think he left. They make it to the observation deck. His van is still here, though. Maybe he walked. A fatso like him? He probably went back to the theater for some popcorn. Just get in the car, Laura. And don't look in the back seat. Oh Christ, yeah, the back seat. Everyone always forgets about the back seat. That's the best part of the Leave ending. What about the back seat? Oh, there's actually information about Gremory, the Duke of Demons. He is a Duke strong and something in the form of a beautiful woman with something on a great camel. His something 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 treasures. Hid something 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 old. He something 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 Gremory. Do something something hast. Du hast. Let. Whoops. Gremory, Duchess of Wisdom and Love, I invoke your presence. I seek your... Turn the page at the sound of the tone. That's only on page 5, too. This is not just information about Gremory. This is like... summoning Gremory. Can opener. Perfect for opening a tin can with light bulbs. No fancy finger, but look how dirty his hands are now. There we go. Play Magdalene one more time before we leave. Hey Kikyo, did I hit my next break at the best time for light bulbs? We just got the can opener. Albert Smith, Certificate of Accreditation. That's one of the Brookhaven. Yeah, these are all the certifications and everything that you find on the walls all throughout Brookhaven, just kind of thrown together in a box. Gregory. I mean Gremory. Just keep accidentally summoning some guy named Greg. Yeah, hi, what's up? What do you need? More flowers, floral decor, floral themes, especially around a lot of these locations that are a bit more specific to Mary. The piano that she liked to play. The floral patterns. Oh, this reminds me. A friend of mine let me pull this up. Because a very long time friend of mine in Hirimi's, who we've known for the last, like, 25 years, who also pops in streams from time to time. Let me get a screenshot of this. He just moved to a new place, and he's been buying furniture and stuff. And he posted a thing on his Blue Sky account. Reading chair acquired. So this is my friend Sock Ninja's reading chair. And I'm like, that's gotta be a Silent Hill 2 remake asset. Look at this fucking thing. I feel like we've seen this exact chair. Your reading chair. But, like, look at this thing. Look at the pattern on it. This is just how furniture of that era was. And yeah, the, like, wicker backing. That is, like, perfect Silent Hill 2 antique chair. It's like, that's his reading chair. I'm like, damn, good for you, man. Got that burnt down hotel aesthetic going on in your reading room. I respect it. But just sitting here and looking at some of the chairs and furniture in the hotel, it reminded me of that.
Nora!
どこかにあるはず。
時は止まれ。そしてと時が動きです。Oh, and she's gone. All right, I really want to know exactly what trigger lets us start activating ending cutscenes. So for anybody who was not here for yesterday's stream for part 26, when we first got to the hotel, we were looking around in the kitchen in the Venus Tears bar to see if there was canned light bulbs. Didn't find any. And then I also started looking around. Somebody had asked, like, oh, can we just go straight to room 312? I was like, I don't see why not. So we teleported straight up to room 312. And it works. You can just be here. But like when you clip into the room, you get the sound notification for the UFO ending for using the blue gem. But when you actually take it out to use it, it doesn't work. Next to this, we also have the observation room, which is the dog ending room. We have the key for this. We can open it. We can look around this room, but Mira's not in there, and the dog ending cutscene doesn't trigger. So usually that means there is some other event that the game is looking for to have happened for those cutscenes to trigger, for you to get those endings. And I'm not sure what event the game is looking for specifically. So let's see if meeting Laura did the trick. I'm going to guess no. I'm guessing it's probably triggered by having the key to this door and opening up the third floor, or by solving the music box puzzle. I'm thinking it's one of those two. But sometimes it's tied to like arbitrary events. So it might be meeting Laura. It might be looking for that cutscene to have played for this ending to play. So let's see. There's our UFO ending audio cue. But yeah, the blue gem does not activate. This is the same thing that happened yesterday. Maybe need to pick up the videotape, maybe. It could be tied to any number of events or several of events that the game is sort of checking to see if you're doing things in order. But yeah, for anybody who didn't see this, you can just use the dog key and walk right in. You don't get the dog ending. Mira's not here. But you can look around the control room. Don't touch anything, James. I love this little graphic. It's actually like an accurate map with, you know, Toluca Lake and the town showing like, where's Maria? Where's James? Notice how Maria is still listed as being like on the other side of the lake where we last saw her in the labyrinth. And James is over on this side of the lake now where the hotel is. But same graphic as in the OG, just with little cutouts of the OG models instead of the remake models like it is here. So, interacting with Laura is not the trigger. Not the event the game is looking for. Silence. See how we're doing on ammo. 66 handgun. 10 shotgun. We used a lot of shotgun testing stuff out with Eddie. Oh, you're still alive? But we were testing stuff out with Eddie. We learned that you can destroy every single piece of hanging meat in that fight, which is pretty cool. And remove all of the cover. Also, Silent Hill movie reference in loving memory of Sean Mitchell. It's a combination of our two lead actors from the first Silent Hill movie, Sean Bean and Rhoda Mitchell. The family regret to inform you of his passing. The funeral service will be held at St. Stella Church in South Vale, intersection of Nathan Avenue and Neely Street at 11 a.m. Following the service, we will hold a small reception at Sean's family home. They literally did a Sean Bean Dies reference. But they also included Rhoda Mitchell, who doesn't really die, I guess. Her soul stays behind in the other world. Those movies aren't great in the plot resolution standpoint. I like the first movie. I don't like it as an accurate adaptation, because it's not. Not even remotely. But they at least tried to replicate some sets and camera shots. And it's sort of schlock, but it's entertaining schlock. At least for me. And then there's Silent Hill Revelations, which is like not even entertaining as a bad movie. Like Rachel and I watch a lot of bad movies just for fun. We just watched a bad movie last night for fun after we finished working and streaming and everything. But Revelations is just painful. The first one, it's not a great adaptation of the game, and unfortunately, a lot of people watch the movie without playing the games and assume that it's very accurate and base a lot of their knowledge of the series on that movie, which is absolutely not something you should do, by the way. Movie story and game story are very different beasts. Do you never... This one never open? I'm surprised they have it rendered at all. So I don't think you ever go in this bathroom. There's most of these bathrooms... are just going to be closed off. Huh. It's strange that I Among Everyone is taking a wait-and-see approach to the new Silent Hill film. That's very noble of you, Yoshio-kun, because I know you're not a fan of the first movie. You don't even enjoy it as, like, schlock bad movie that's entertaining the way I do. So I'm glad you're giving Return to Silent Hill the benefit of the doubt as far as, like, let's wait and see. Everyone deserves a second chance. That's fair. Is this the last chance you're going to give Christoph Gans? But it's his last one. There you go. It's a teddy bear. Missing an eye. A little sheriff badge. Missing an arm. With a nutrition drink. A nutritional supplement. Some ammo, just a bunch of supplies. I wonder if Christoph Gans will get a chance to make the other movie that he wanted to make. Because he actually mentioned making a new Silent Hill movie like a couple years before Return to Silent Hill was announced. I think that was like 2019 or 2020. Because, you know, Return to Silent Hill, all of that was announced during the transmission in 2022. And I want to say 2019 or 2020, Gans had said the two movies that he really wanted to make were another Silent Hill movie and a Fatal Frame movie. So I wonder if he'll actually get to make that Fatal Frame movie as well. I imagine that might rely heavily on how well Return to Silent Hill does. Temporal Fry asks, how much do you think it would have cost in modern dollars to stay at this kind of hotel? Assuming it was still operating at not abandoned levels of condition. Was it a nice hotel or kind of meh? I mean, it's the nicest hotel in Silent Hill. which is like a well-known tourist destination. It's right next to the theme park. It's right next to Lakeside Amusement Park. So this would be like staying in a nice hotel next to Disneyland. Like, it would not be cheap. This is one of those, like, a regular little room like this would probably be like $500 a night minimum. Cause like, where else are you gonna stay as a tourist? You're gonna go stay at Jack's? You're gonna go stay at Jack's Inn? Have you seen that place? Not to mention, it's on the complete opposite side of the lake if you want to go to the amusement park and kind of the more touristy parts of town. It's only 3 miles away. How does Vincent put it in Silent Hill 3? It's a bit far, but closer than heaven. What's the place in Origins again? Riverside Motel. Oh yeah, then there's the Origins Motel, where the hotel owner has holes drilled in all the walls and like a secret little area behind all the rooms so that he can peek in at everybody and take photos. But they've got a pool that's shaped like a heart. And an arcade with pinball. Fun for the whole family. In the OG Silent Hill 2, there's that sign for Lakeside that says 3 miles away. I'm sure it's in the remake too, but I always think of the OG. Yeah, it's in the remake. It's recreated. The advertisement with the horses for Lakeside Amusement Park, which is not accurate if you look at the map. Can't remember if they have any of the maps with a... No, you don't really get a thing to get an idea of scale. Usually maps will tell you like half an inch equals 1 mile or whatever. You don't get that. There's the big map I posted to the Discord with scale. I mean, fans have made sort of approximations in terms of scale, but Toluca Lake is big. And for Nathan Avenue to go all the way around the west end, like the west side of Toluca Lake, to get back to where Lakeview is and where Lakeside Amusement Park is, it seems a lot more than like 3 miles. And then I think over on the far east bank of Toluca Lake would be Shepherd's Glen, which is where Silent Hill Homecoming takes place. The Silent Hill 1 map has a scale. I think they go off the Silent Hill 1 old Silent Hill map. The problem is that Silent Hill 1 just functionally is not to scale. All you have to do is look at how big the roads are in comparison to the cars and Harry. Everything is exaggerated to be balanced for the sake of gameplay rather than realistic proportions. Is Lakeview implied to have been across the lake the whole time during Silent Hill 1? I know it didn't exist until they made 2, but that's where it'd be, right? No, you're on the same side of the lake as Lakeview. Lakeview is supposed to be just slightly down the road a little bit from Lakeside Amusement Park. So when you make that run as Harry, well, I guess you don't really make that run. You get there through the sewers. So if you would have been able to go across the streets and not been in the other world, theoretically you would go past the Lakeview Hotel on your way to Lakeside Amusement Park. These are some of the Historical Society things. These are objects taken from that that website-based museum. There's Old Silent Hill and New Silent Hill. Which ones were Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 2 in each? So Silent Hill 2 is in South Vale. Most of it is in South Vale, which is the southern end of Toluca Lake. And then Silent Hill 1 takes place on the northern end of the lake, which is Old Silent Hill, Central Silent Hill, and the Business District. I think they're all labeled. Can't believe I didn't know this till now. I thought Lakeview was just kind of alone on that side of the lake. No, it's actually, I said, I don't know how much of a view they give us in the maps available in the game. Yeah, we only get to see East and West South Vale. So you can see where the Historical Society is in the top left of the map. The edge of Toluca Lake goes up that way. If you go directly north, all the way across the lake from the Historical Society, you hit Lakeview Hotel. And then if you go east, I think it's east from Lakeview Hotel, you're basically on the road towards the area of Silent Hill 1 where like the Kaufman side quest happens. So Annie's Bar and the Roadrunner or the Indian Runner, all of that stuff. Norman's Hotel. Right in the butt. Okay, opens up our little side door back to the front entrance. Speaking of maps, make sure I'm thoroughly examining all the rooms. The utility room, which has some interesting stuff. Hedera Helix. Hedera Helix seems to have some kind of pest. Separate from the rest of the plants or they'll all die. So, Hedera Helix, also known as English ivy, a fast-growing woody evergreen vine native to Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa. The leaf of this plant has several active ingredients with medicinal uses. Used for the treatment of cough and respiratory problems. Thank you, Wikipedia. Sunrise Wing Key. I bet you feel real fancy picking that up. Yes, sir. There we go. Good shot of that. Nub Fancy should be an emote. I'll just do a really... just a screenshot of James' fancy finger. I can make that happen. I can make that happen. I'm not very good at drawing my own emotes. Usually I'll commission artists to make emotes and stuff for me. But I can Photoshop. I can definitely take a screenshot and isolate it from the background, make it transparent, and have a James fancy finger emote for fancy occasions. Hey, some garden soil, potting mix for flowers and vegetables. Feeds up to 3 months. Made from food waste that gets thrown away by people, usually. Whenever you throw away old food, that gets sorted out at your local trash facility and gets processed into potting soil. I learned that from watching Dirty Jobs. Hop Top, 2 kilograms. Thanks, Mike Rowe. I love that show. Put on Mythbusters while your dad was here a couple months ago and he'd never seen an episode and he loved it. Same. Love me some Mythbusters. I love the edutainment type shows. I love being entertained while learning stuff. And Discovery had some really great stuff back in the day. Probably not so much these days. I honestly don't know, but Mythbusters was great. Rest in peace, Grant Imahara. Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs. Important loading instructions. And Adam Savage actually still is very active on like YouTube, where he does all sorts of stuff. From like prop making, and he does streams where he answers like viewer questions. Most people ask about Mythbusters, but answers a lot of general questions and stuff for people who are also scientists and builders and engineers. Does a lot of cool stuff on his channel. I watch a lot of his stuff still. I always watch his stuff and I'm like, I'm terrible at turning my motivation into action. Because he has such a great workshop. And I'm like, man, I want to do this with my garage. I want to clean up my garage. I have all this stuff that I don't use. I've got a 3D printer that's like never been put together and used. And I'm looking at all this cool stuff that he makes with his 3D printer. And it's still sitting in pieces in my garage. .3D printer, yeah. Rachel got us like an entry level, like it's a cheaper 3D printer. It's not anything fancy or amazing, but we got like an entry level 3D printer mainly because we play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. And we were like, it would be fun to print out our own miniatures and little models and things for maps. And it's sitting in pieces in my garage. I never put it together. I've also got a couple thousand D&D miniatures because I paint minis. And I've painted about 20. And I still have like thousands of unpainted miniatures where I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to this. I'll do like 1 or 2 a day. It's hard for me to turn my motivation into action. Narrator, he was lying. Yep. It's true, though. It happens. I mean, to be fair, I've been so preoccupied with my health for such a long time now that it's kind of been most of my life. It's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm at a point where I can stream regularly again, because this is something that I love doing, and I missed feeling well enough to do this. So I've felt much better lately in terms of health, and I've felt much better lately in terms of my mental health being able to stream again. Because it is something I've been doing for such a long time now. Since 2011. It's become a very big part of my life. And it's something I very much love doing. But I gotta try and make room for other things too. I gotta try to play Dungeons and Dragons more and paint some miniatures and put together my 3D printer. Put together my pizza oven. I used to work in a pizza place. I can make delicious pizzas from scratch, not like Papa John's or Domino's and that kind of shit where everything comes in a bag. I used to work at a little local place in Austin, Texas, where we made everything in-house, made all of our own dough, and I had to do everything. I was an assistant manager there, so I was learning how to make everything from scratch. And Rachel's parents, for Christmas one year, got us a pizza oven sitting in a box in our garage. Haven't put it together. Haven't made any pizzas. I really should. All these things in life that I need to do and just haven't made time. Been inspecting the map. Is Shepherd's Glen really that close to the town? That's kind of rad to me. Yeah. Homecoming takes place, like the town itself is on Toluca Lake. Allegedly, TM. I mean, yeah. It depends on how much you want to consider Homecoming in the overall canon. Which, you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. But it's fun to think about in terms of an like overall map, with Shepherd's Glen being a part of it. Hey, 9:10 on the clock. Aftermath. This is the millennium of Aftermath. Four broken pieces of glass, fourth letter in the sequence, spelling out "You've been here for 2 decades." Pillow in the corner. Booze everywhere. Someone spilled their whiskey. Clearly that's what that stain is and nothing else. Cigarettes and bottle caps, burnt matches. Rough night. Hey, I've definitely been to some hotel parties where you'd be lucky if the room was this clean when you wake up the next day. This is nothing. Okay, we need 107. Which we don't have yet. We gotta go sunrise and can opener. Eventually 312. You know what's kind of offensive is the Shattered Memories map. They move a lot of streets around and even get rid of some streets. But at least Shattered Memories map has a more realistic scale. Can at least excuse Shattered Memories as a game that is pretty blatantly an alternate universe tale. Same. It's in the title of the game. Cheryl's, well, sorry for the Shattered Memories spoilers. Cover your ears if you don't want Shattered Memories spoilers. But Cheryl's memories are shattered. The whole game is her sort of incorrect memories of her life and her father. So maybe she's just misremembering Silent Hill. She hasn't really been there since she was a little girl. At some point, her and Dahlia would have moved away. Some wonderful pictures here. Lots of references. So, first of all, there's the San Pedro Church in Avila, Spain, aka the Rebirth Ending Island Church, as part of this painting. And the Olsen house. We've got an Olsen house painting. So the Olsen house is a real life location that was made famous by paintings. So let me pull up the Olsen house, which is located in Cushing, Maine. So there's the real life Olsen house, right? And this was used as the inspiration for the Gillespie house in Silent Hill 1, which you see from the intro movie of Silent Hill 1 and in some promotional artwork and stuff like that. So there's the Gillespie house in Silent Hill 1, modeled directly after the Olsen house. And the fact that it was also made famous through paintings like Christina's World by Andrew Wyeth. Let me see if I can find an image of it that isn't super tiny. There we go. So here's Christina's World by Andrew Wyeth, 1948, with the Olsen house there in the background. I've actually been pulling a lot of this up as part of my Silent Hill 1 iceberg video that I'm working on. But information that I've known for quite a while and talked about in several of my Silent Hill 1 story playthroughs over the last decade. Ashley Olsen? Yep, that's her. Actually, the person in the painting is Anna Christina Olsen, who had a degenerative muscular disorder called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disorder. So she was unable to walk and was very against being confined to a wheelchair. So she would crawl all over the family's property at the Olsen house. So Andrew Wyeth did this painting of Anna Olsen crawling around in the fields on the property surrounding the Olsen house. But we have this wonderful rendition of the Olsen house in our own painting here in the hotel, in the remake. there's a creepy house that looks like that, and any given Sunday you could see a woman crawling around. That's scary, and I love it. I mean, back in the 1940s, you could. The house is still there. It's still there. It's a historical landmark, so you can go to Cushing, Maine, and visit the actual Olsen house. What is this one? This one is not familiar to me, but it looks like it would be a real painting. Do a little reverse image searching. One moment. Minecraft castle. Antique castle and bridge with figures. That's not it. Italy. Lazio, what the old castle looked like. That's similar, but that's not it. Seeing a lot of similar castles and artwork, but nothing I can find an exact match to. Some mountains, landscapes. But the way Bluebird Team is with a lot of their artwork and their references, I feel like everything here has some level of intention behind it, like what it is or what it's referencing or why it's used. Nice little hillside with a house there. Again, the ones that stand out the most to me, the ones I can actually recognize, are the San Pedro Church from Spain, the Rebirth Ending Island and Church, and the Olsen House from Silent Hill 1, Gillespie House, essentially. Something very dark and creepy, and probably painted by Francisco Goya. Incredible Joe, thank you so much for the 24 months. Thank you so much, Joe. You really are incredible. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate 2 whole years of support. That is amazing. Thank you very, very much. Creepy ass fucking hotel stairs. These stairs. These stairs right here. Hold on. Let me line it up again for anybody who didn't see the comparison image that I shared yesterday. Just chillin'. Thank you for the 83 months. That is a lot of love and support. Thank you so, so much. Hotel looks great. Paintings are nice. Thank you, Just Chillin', for the 83 months. So here's the lobby of the Stanley Hotel. in Colorado, the hotel that the Overlook from Stephen King's Shining is based on. Look at the front desk. Look at the stairs. Look at the doors and rooms next to the stairs. The photo you walked in on last night, I mean, look. It's literally, they recreated this whole section of the Stanley Hotel here with the stairs and everything. Yeah, it's almost 1-to-1. Like they changed a little bit around, a little bit of the architecture and everything, but nearly identical. Yeah, even the wallpaper is the same. Sunset Wing. Time to go see the nurse. Oh wait, we have the Sunrise Wing key. As opposed to the Sunset Wing. Should make your logos a little more discernible, Lakeview. There's the pleasure room. We're going to the reading room in the Sunrise Wing. Hey, we get the shrieking mannequin. Very similar introduction as in the prison. Another clock at 10 past 9 in 15 seconds. Books. Broken glasses. Repeated assets. Hell yeah, the zebra stripe coat. Another Claudia coat as well. The vines outside are clipping in here. No cans. No bulbs. We'll come back to that. The wind jump scare. Oh. Pretty effective startle since the hotel is so peaceful for the most part. I like that. It's definitely one of the better setup kind of jump scare moments. Like, they did a decent job, not just cramming a bunch of jump scares. Like, for the most part, it's ones that were in the original game, like the prison bathroom jump scare, and stuff like that. But yeah, the quiet sort of venturing through the hotel up to this point, and then getting the sudden wind jump scare like that. Nothing sinister happened either, it was just wind. There is a mannequin in the room, but they don't just have it like jump out and attack you immediately either. I mean, there's lots of mannequins in the room, you know what I mean. Mannequin enemy. Pablo Gatos, Pets Under Our Garden. Pet Cemetery. Jules Society. Same book is downstairs on the shelves behind the front desk. Well, here's a light bulb. It's not the light bulb, and it's not in a can. The employee elevator key rendered inside the briefcase already. You can already see the word help spelled out on the dials. Photos that we are not going to pick up just yet. Another clock with 10 past 9. Hey, creepy sounds. Yeah. That would be the mannequin crawling around on the walls out here. Or is it you? Is it lying figure? I think that's the mannequin, though. Oh, that's you. It's the one crawling around. But somebody earlier suggested that maybe the canned light bulbs were in this room because it's, you know, a light bulb puzzle. But I don't see any cans. Unless it's in the ashtray. So it's not in this room either. But this is where I'm going to have to call it for tonight. And we'll pick this back up tomorrow evening and continue our search for the canned light bulbs.